Air signs, thanks for joining me. This is your reading for this full moon in Cancer. We're just doing the element readings this time, and for the did I say full moon in Cancer? Yeah. Next time for the new moon in Capricorn, we'll be back into individual astro sign readings. So for today, air signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Sorry, I'm a bit clogged up. I've had sinus, hay fever thing. It's that time of the year. But thanks for joining me. Hope you're doing well and taking rest where you can as we kind of build up to this full moon, which is tomorrow here in Aotearoa. Tomorrow is the 6th, which is a Friday, and so that's the full moon time. Of course, it resonates prior and beyond that. But so let's see. Look, thinking about, wow, so we've just got a great watch of cards coming out, air signs. If you haven't tuned in, we do clarify as we go through, and also thanks for tuning in if you haven't before, or if you have and you are a subscriber, thank you so much. I love comments, likes, all of that is so helpful to get these videos seen by more people, so thank you so much. Okay, air signs, and I might just get one more card to tap on the end for lovely air signs at this, yeah, that's good, at this full moon in Cancer. I think a good time, of course, speaking of Cancer, we all think of nurturing and all of that. On the axis there, the counterpart of Cancer, of course, if you could say that, is Capricorn. And that new moon that will come up in Capricorn, I think if you take advantage of this rest, self-care, all of that stuff at this time, you'll ease your way into and actually be far more productive when that new moon in Capricorn comes through, is just the way that I think about it. And so if you can, it's been really important to take time out. What have I done with my, oh, there they are, my glasses. Okay, air signs, enough chatter. Serious. Okay, we get to the beginning here. We see, it is called Art in the Thoth deck. It's the card of temperance. We understand the angel mixing and matching all the different things. Yes, very air-like, is it not? We're kind of drawing in all sorts of things into our cauldron and just allowing things to simmer and glimmer away until they're ready. There is an element of divine timing in this, and we might have had recipes in the past that have served us well, but possibly we're embarking on some new ones. Air signs is what I feel. We've got the 9 of Cups, of course, the 9 of Cups. Now, the 9 of Cups, I mean, sometimes I get these things mixed up, but I'm pretty sure it's, is it Venus and Pisces? I'm pretty sure it is. It's a card of happiness, and, we really feel, not only externally we feel that sort of emotional wealth, but we're really pouring it out of ourselves as well. We've got a new, fresh approach to it, or feeling about it within ourselves here. I could look at that also and say, look, it's been a difficult period for a lot of air signs, for a lot of people generally, certainly over 2022 and beyond that, but that you will be feeling a level of maybe more emotional satisfaction, and just basic happiness coming through. We then have the Four of Cups. Often talk about the Four of Cups being opportunities that appear, that we need to be quite careful with ourselves to notice these opportunities, and if they are conducive, to take advantage of them. For some Geminis out there, I think you might be looking back at opportunities from the past that possibly you didn't take, that altered a course of direction or courses of direction. But the fours in the Thoth deck, it's called luxury because we've got these four glorious cups. The upper two are radiating light. I mean, it's kind of light from the top and light from the bottom joining in the middle. It's a pretty amazing card. Very ornate, very beautiful. And yet with all fours, there's a solidity about them that doesn't go well with the cup. Do you know what I mean? You can't contain, you can't hold it in the same static space, if you know what I mean, or form. It's designed to flow, water. It's designed to move, and so there is a sort of a kind of inevitable flow that occurs in the four. It's sort of a static thing. It's in stasis, but the cups are not designed for that, and so there's a tension maybe in that, if you know what I mean. So, anywho, let's keep going. I'm taking a long time. I mean, I'm sort of going on and on a bit today in these readings, but I don't know why. It's just the way it is. We then have the Prince of Swords getting swept along. There's, as I say, getting swept along by, they are described as little fairies, little thought forms. Sometimes there is a reason for this, and we allow that. We allow ourselves that for a period of time. We don't want to spend a lifetime doing that. But we can allow, there is a purpose somewhere within that. And from one of those little imaginings or thought forms or movements, what occurs, excuse me, we get the Eight of Wands. What occurs is very swift messages coming in, swift communication. We break out of that Prince of Swords. I'm not meaning this in an ominous way. I mean it in a good way. That we get well and truly planted on a particular direction for a while, which is possibly what we need, air signs. The nature of our airiness, our mutability. A lot of, some air signs are more mutable than others, of course. Some water signs are mutable. It's a mix. But I mean, the mutability of air is that it is designed to disperse. So that's why this prince is such a wonderful example of that, of this sort of dispersal. And sometimes there is a great thing that comes out of it, which is a lot of information coming back to you, a lot of communicado coming back to you, air signs, and a speeding up of what has felt to be a little bit stuck, if that makes sense. So let's just go through, and this is at this full moon in Cancer, which is, we might be feeling things pretty intensely around this time. We might need to want to just be in our little world here for a few days. As I say, rest and retreat. Not necessarily retreat, but certainly rest. So let's look at temperance. Fixies and fairies. Pixies and fairies. Brian Froud, Fairy Oracle. Let's look at the temperance card. Just to be a little bit more specific. There are some things that some people, what am I saying? There are some things that you don't need to make obvious to others. I'll say that before we show you these cards. So we've got temperance, we've got that old gnome, which is the magician. We know the magician, master of will. What is will? It's choice and expression. It gets things moving. It gets things moving. So we have the magician. We also have the gotcha card, I think it is, which, surprise, there might be, I'm just saying for some air signs, you might be coming up with some ideas, whatever they're about. It could be work, could be just projects, whatever. It could be insights. It could be clear sight. Whatever it is for you, you don't need to tell everyone about it in your sphere. You don't need to tell everyone about it. That's just what I'm saying. Because timing, we see temperance and this natural timing of things. And that every small action, I'm just saying this, every small action, every word has an impact beyond what we see. I'm just saying here, you don't need to tell anyone whether it's your plans or goals, projects, whatever at this time. Just have a rest, air signs. 9 of Cups. Another alchemical card, Nellis the Alchemist. I think for a lot of these readings at this current time, leading up to this full moon in Cancer, there's been, whether you are aware of it, conscious of it, understand it or not, there's been a lot of groundwork that's been done that you've felt has been, that hasn't worked. But in fact, you just on a threshold here, air signs, that you're going to start to see. This is happening. You're going to start to see that trying to draw in things that haven't been successful, maybe, or maybe they have and you're seeing it right now. But there's a process that's been underway for a while. You're really going to start to see that in your sphere, in your world. And I would say, it is to do with emotional satisfaction or general well-being. 4 of Cups, please. Pixies and fairies, 4 of Cups for air signs. Freedom. The journeyman is like the foal, stepping out afresh. The concept, I'm just going to say it in this way because the concept of knowing what we need and what we want, it's not really a concept, is it? But just understanding that within the self, air signs, what we need, what we want at any given time. Sometimes from our experience, from our personal experience, we understand what's important to us ultimately and what's not really that important. To me, with that 4 of Cups and the journeyman, we understand how we we look at our attachments, excuse me, and for some air signs out there, we look at that within our minds, within our hearts. We see that we're not really attached to tangible things so much as possibly other people or relationships, whatever. But I mean, but even in that sense, we're not really that attached. There's a freedom here. We're not bound by anything external that can't be sorted out. There's a real sort of freedom in here, air signs. And as we look at that Prince of Swords sort of being pulled in many various directions, yeah, there is a reason for that. We get the Ra card. This is kinetic energy. It is energy for energy's sake. It's a propelling force. We see here that this Prince of Swords, yeah, is pulled along, but at the same time, he's got the little rein here on these that he can cut at any time. Do you know what I mean? There's a real thing here, like this choice of to feel bound and attached. And often that becomes stressful and limiting. There's a choice here that, of course, we all have a choice. We all have choices. We make choices all the time. But you know what I mean? Like the Prince of Swords cutting those little reins. And the thought forms fly off. The ones that have substance and stickability will not be flying off anywhere. They'll be kind of still there. Do you know what I'm saying? And then we've got that Eight of Wands. We're talking about energetics here, energetic input, movement for movement's sake, a desire for that, or possibly a desire to direct it, control it, focus it. Eight of Wands, please, for air signs. This is pretty airy. It is pretty airy, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And we'll get one more. We got topsy-turvets. Yeah, maybe at the moment it just looks the same, whatever way you want to look at it. If you're thinking about a situation or your situation or a project or whatever it happens to be. It's sort of like a one-track mind, what appears to be looking like that way looks exactly the same upside down. How do we sort of relate to that? Are a lot of people sort of watching? There's something about that whatever you're doing at the moment, you don't need to explain that to others, or whatever you're planning on, or there's something about just keeping it in here for a while, without, yeah. And then we have Guardian at the gate being pushed through. This came out for the water signs as well. Do check out those other element readings because you might find something in there. We get pushed through this birth canal. In some ways, it's an initiation. It's a period of time. I mean, we've been here. We've been moving through here for a while. And then we get pushed through that little tight bit and come out the other end. It's there's a birthing, there's a sort of timing in that. So it's all quite interesting, air signs. And then we'll get a rock mineral crystal for you. It's a very airy reading, but you know, don't question your ability to be quite expansive in ideas, in information, all of that. But know when it's the right time to, as I say, or as Kenny Rogers once said, know when to hold him and know when to fold him. Air signs. Let's get a rock mineral crystal. We've got blue calcite. I love calcites. Soothing, inner peace, universal perspective, and a very strong memory. Blue calcite is a beautiful thing. And on that note, I hope you got something from this reading today, the reading which is for the full moon in Cancer. The emphasis here is on time out and self-nurturing, and even if it's just for a couple of days, it will make you far more enthused and able to take advantage of that new moon in Capricorn coming up in a wee while. So on that note, air signs, oh, noisy truck, take good care, and thanks again for joining me, and look after yourselves, and we'll see you next time. Ka kite, bye. Cheery.